What is up, guys? It is your LoLSupport here, and today we're going to be bringing you guys an in-depth guide on how to push. Regardless of if it's pushing in lane or split pushing, you guys are going to become more efficient pushers after this video. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, let's get into some basic information that's going to help us describe what we're going to be going over today. So before we go into how to effectively push and what each push will do for you, let's go into some basic information about the minions. So when a minion hits a turret, the turret will take approximately 3 hits to kill a melee minion, 2 hits to kill a caster minion, and 5 hits to kill a cannon minion. Now this is important because we're going to be timing the amount of hits that it takes to kill each of these minions in combination with the attack speed of the turret and minion location on the map to determine whether the lane will reset, begin a slow push towards you, or begin a fast push towards you, or a compiled push, if you'd like to call it that. So now that we know this basic information, let's test out some concept. So say you have 2 melee minions and a caster minion, that's going to equate to 8 hits by the turret. Say if you have 2 caster minions, 1 melee minion, that's going to equate to 7 hits for the turret. If you have 1 cannon minion, 2 melee minions, and 2 caster minions, that's going to equate to 15 hits by the turret. So as long as you guys understand this basic concept, we're ready to get started into the video. Okay, so let's go into some information about the top lane on blue side or the bot lane on red side. So at this specific point where you see located by the arrow, once the minions hit that point, it will take the minions 10 seconds to reach the lane right by the bottom of the turret. So if there's a minion wave at that turret with melee minions still alive, they will start combating the minions at that point. So keep in mind that at this point, it will take 10 seconds. And at this point in the mid lane, it will also take 10 seconds as well. And in the bot lane for blue side, or the top lane for red side, once the minions hit this point, this will be the 10-second marker. Now, why is this 10-second marker so significant? Well, if you take a look at this picture on the screen right now, the turrets have 0.83 attacks per second. So when you multiply this out by 10 seconds, you get roughly 8 shots a second. Or 8 shots in the 10-second window. And what that means is, referring back to our minion counter, where we know how many hits each minion will take, if the minion wave, once pushed to the turret, equates between 8 to 10 hits, the lane will reset. If it equates 10 or more hits compiled up at the base of the turret, the minion wave will not reset and the minion wave will start to begin a slow push towards you. Now, why is this significant? So a lot of the times when people get kills in lane, often they are told, push the wave out in base. Well, this isn't necessarily going to always be the case. So say if you get a kill, and then you have to stay in lane for an extra 20 to 25 seconds, clearing out the wave and then basing. That is time spent by the enemy champion to roam back into lane. If you deny them a minion wave that is between 8 to 10 hits, they will lose those minions. However, the wave will completely reset, and for them to push to your tower and get their wave to reset would only cause them pushing 1 minion wave. Versus if you pushed it into the tower with, say, over 10 hits going into the minion wave, you will delay that wave for a longer period of time and they will not be able to re-push the lane against your turret. By the time you get back into lane, there will be a slow push enacted on their minions towards your side because they will be last hitting your minions under tower. So the minion wave will now start to begin a slow push towards you, and within about 45 seconds to a minute of entering lane, depending on how good they are at freezing the lane will be not only reset but slightly in your favor as far as pushing wise is concerned. And this sets you up perfectly to get either A, another kill, or B, freeze the lane and really milk out your advantage. So this is the reason why I wanted to go into this guide, is because oftentimes people don't know how to push the minion waves when they're basing, because sometimes they'll push the minion wave out, it'll reset because they didn't push it with enough timing, and the enemy laner, if they have good wave clear, only has to clear 1 good wave, and then it will hit the turret. By the time you get back into lane, you will start enacting a slow push towards their turret, and that will put you into a unfavorable situation within a minute 30 seconds of being in lane. So this is the negative side of doing this. Now let's go into some of the more advanced tactics as far as pushing in the late game, as far as split pushing is concerned. Now, I want to get rid of a common misnomer about split pushing. And although split pushing is done by one champion going to another lane who's typically a better duelist, or maybe even an ADC that can carry themselves, they don't need the aid of the support. Typically, they go into a lane by themselves, they push the wave out, and they try and get towers. However, this does not always have to be the concrete definition of you doing your job in split pushing. What you can do is you can enact something called a slow push. Slow pushes are typically done in the late game intentionally. Slow pushes are done by towers unintentionally in the early game and in the laning phase, like I had explained a little bit earlier. However, in the late game, what you want to do is, if you take a look at this picture right now, we're looking at the minion counter picture like we did before. If you leave anywhere between 2 to 4 minions in the wave so that your minion wave is higher number than the enemy's minion wave by 2 to 4 minions, then that will be the gauge on which how fast the lane will slow push. If you leave 2 minions in the lane over the enemy, then it'll be a very slow push. If you leave 4 minions, it's going to be a faster slow push. Now, I know you guys are thinking right now, why are you going to waste the CS, or why are you going to waste the money that you can get from CSing? Well, let me explain this to you. So if you take a look at the picture, say you are in the bot lane right now, right? And you are pushing out the minion wave, and it's right now in the middle of the 2 first tier turrets. There's about to be a Baron fight, and the game is about 36 to 40 minutes into the game. You have TP up, you know this. So what you want to do is, if you enact a faster slow push by leaving 4 minions and then TPing over to the Baron fight, you guys can now Baron dance, or you can start the Baron buff, or do any, whatever the situation calls for, and you don't have to worry about bot lane anymore. Bot lane will start pushing on its own to the point where it's not going to do it very fast, but it will indefinitely go to their side at some point. Now, the reason this is beneficial, if you can do this to every single lane, start a slow push or a fast slow push in each lane, and then go to Baron and force them to stay near Baron with you at risk of either losing Baron or potentially getting a good fight, every single lane will start pushing towards them. Now, if you win the Baron fight and you do get Baron, all the waves are now prepped and ready to siege by your whole team. So you can send 1 person top, 3 people mid, and 1 person bottom, and you guys can effectively push down 3 towers at once, maybe even 6 towers, getting the inhib towers, assuming that they only have 2nd tier turrets left. That is the ideal situation where you did that with all 3 lanes and you won the Baron fight and you got the Baron. Now, say that you came out kind of a tie on the Baron fight, however they were able to get the Baron. They now have to waste about 45 seconds to a minute of their Baron resetting the waves to neutral. Now, what this will do is this will enact a faster slow push towards you guys, because they probably didn't watch this guide. They don't know how to push lanes. In which case, it will take them the full minute, maybe even a minute 20. Now, you're wasting time on their Baron buff. And typically, when people have a Baron buff, you don't want to fight them. Okay, they have far more power over you as far as damage and as far as sieging power. So what you need to do is you need to out-rotate them. In this minute that they are pushing out the waves and resetting everything, you need to take this time out, ward up your jungle, both sides. Your whole team should be helping out warding your jungle, and you need to beat the enemy team that has the Baron buff, beat them in rotations. So if they're in the top side and you see them rotating to mid to reset the mid wave or siege the mid wave, you need to have one person go bot, shove that wave out to enact a slow push towards their turret, and have 4 people defend turrets. Now, as long as your team has good wave clear, you guys can basically keep this up until the team with the Baron buff eventually loses the Baron buff. And because you're keeping every wave that you can pushed out and continually pushing towards their side, because you're able to do that, they will never be able to siege unless they sacrifice tanking turrets, in which case you guys should be able to have a more even fight, because you'll now have another person on the map, which is your turret. at inhib or second tier, whatever turret it may be. So that is the benefit behind slow pushing, and why slow pushing is effective at not only utilizing your Baron buff, but also neutralizing enemy team Baron buffs. Alright guys, that's it for this week's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys learned something new about pushing. And if you have, leave it in the comment section down below so we can know what you guys are learning and how fast you guys are learning on this channel. And as always, if you like this video, please put a huge thumbs up. It helps us out a lot and lets us know that the community is showing much love. And guys, without anything else to say on this topic, this has been your LOL Support, and I am out of here.